sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are here. Another episode I.O.W. Sports Network, the I.O.W. Sports Show, afternoon show. We are here, episode 296. Wild Carmar in the building, and I'm joined by the one and only our brother, Anthony Roche. How you doing, bro?
What's going on? Doing good. Happy to be on again.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you being on. I know, still got to do the student athlete part, so I know you're a little exhausted, but we're gonna talk a little sports. A lot to talk about. It's Thursday, but y'all know the deal. Before we get out too deep off into our sports conversation, hey, you see everything on the bottom of the screen? Please go over to I.O.W. Sports Network, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Show us some love, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It'll let you know every time we go live or drop some new content. And just spread the word what we got going on. I.O.W. Sports 1 on Twitter as well. Follow Anthony on Twitter. Man, drop your TikTok in your YouTube channel. Drop all that information so the people can follow you, my brother.
Yes, sir. TikTok and YouTube is PR3Z Sports, and then my Instagram is Anthony R3204.
Yes, sir. Go show him some support. You're looking at the baddest man in Mount Clair football team right there, my man. With the hey, don't be shy about it. Hey, sometimes brag about it, dog. It's okay to brag a little bit. Yeah, it's all right. You could brag about it a little bit, man. Hey, sometimes you gotta, flex on them. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Hey, but I appreciate it. My man AR, he's a humble guy, so that's why we rock with him. He just shows up with his lunch pail, goes to work. So he lets me do the bragging for him. I've been bragging for him all season. I've been shout out to Mama Roger. Like every clip she posts, I'm like, oh, I gotta snatch it, put it in the group, show love to my guy. I'm like, yeah, I see you.
Yes,
like, flex for your dog.
Yeah.
Nah, man. So obviously on Monday we was talking about the college football playoff rankings and whatnot. They came out Tuesday. And for those who didn't see it, I think let me double check. Georgia did come out number 1. Michigan came out number 2. Washington number 3, and then Florida State number 4, and then right outside the bubble or the first 4 in, right outside that you had Oregon at 5, Ohio State at 6, Texas at 7, and then Alabama at 8. Obviously, with a lot of stuff on the line this weekend with Georgia versus Alabama in the SEC championship game on Saturday. You got Michigan, Iowa for the Big Ten championship game on Saturday. Washington versus Oregon for the Pac-12 championship on Friday. And then, of course, Florida State versus Louisville for the ACC, and Texas takes on Oklahoma State for the Big 12. Now, with those rankings that just dropped on Tuesday after we did the show, does any of those rankings change your perception on anything that might possibly go down, AR?
The only thing that changes for me is that I think that Ohio State now has no chance to make it, which I didn't think was going to happen. I said, going into that game, I'm like, if Michigan or Ohio State loses, in my opinion, you can't keep either one of them out because, again, you have number 2 playing number 3. It's like a playoff game. How do you move Ohio State to 6 because they lost to number 2 Michigan? You know what I'm saying? So, to me, it's hard to pick between these teams because if you go for best teams overall, Ohio State, in my opinion, shouldn't get left out. But at the same time, with it only being 4 teams, you have to go based off of record as well. You can't keep teams out that are undefeated. At the end of the day, that's really just how it plays out. So if the top 4 teams win, that's how it's going to be. But, the interesting game for me is going to be that Washington-Oregon game. I really do think Oregon comes out on top. In my opinion, I think they beat Washington, so that would move them in. Obviously, you have the Alabama-Georgia game. If Alabama beats Georgia, number one, you cannot move Georgia out of the top 4. That would be a disgrace, in my opinion, if Alabama, upsets them. You have a 29-game win streak right now, 2 national championships. If you lose a game to a conference opponent, which is Alabama, I don't think you get moved out. But again, they just moved out Ohio State. And then if Texas beats Georgia and they get moved in, well, Texas has the same record as Alabama, and Texas beat Alabama. So that's why I keep repeating myself, and I'm saying I'm glad they're moving to 12 teams because that's going to solve all these issues. Because right now it's too confusing. Are we putting the best teams in? Because some of the best teams have 1 loss. Or are we putting in based off of record? Because then you have your top 4 already. So the key games for me this week are going to have to be the Oregon and Alabama game.
No, I'm with you, man. To be honest, man, you make perfect sense in a lot of things that you're saying. And for me, I mean, just personally, just make it easy on us, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State. If you take care of business, all 4 of you teams go in. Right. I think that simplifies a lot of the situation if all 4 of those teams handle their business and just, it leaves us with no drama, which kind of sucks for podcasters and sports anchors because, it kind of helps build the water cooler talk. But to be honest, if they take care of business, man, all the hypotheticals go right out the window. I think I'm with you on the Washington, obviously them being number 3 versus number 5 Oregon. That's the game for me to watch on Friday because, they played earlier in the year and Washington only beat them by 1 possession and it was a close game. So that's that's going to be a very competitive game. They already know each other pretty well. Being is that they played a very close game pretty much like a month and a half ago. So it's not too much you're going to forget about playing each other in that game. Florida State, I get it. Without Jordan Travis, they probably look a little bit different versus Louisville, but still you're the better team. Michigan against Iowa. Come on, man.
Iowa not even going to be close.
Oh, man, they can't score. Iowa can't score. I mean, literally, they might be able to slow down Michigan a tad bit, but I don't know if they'll be able to sustain it for 60 minutes. It'll almost be like, when the Jets play certain teams, the defense can hang in there for a while, but eventually they get tired, and you're not going to get no production from their offense. So Iowa's pretty much set up the same way. So, I mean, what are we expecting Iowa to really do against Michigan? Come on now. Let's be realistic. Yeah. So I'm not expecting that right there. And you brought up a good point about say does Alabama beat Georgia? I'm with you. You can't take Georgia out of there. You just can't. I mean, they've been the epicenter of college football for the last 2.5 years. How dare you take them out? Because they lose 8 in the season and you lose in a conference championship. If that were to happen, I mean, that's not a disgrace. They shouldn't be punished for that. So, I mean, I totally 100% get what you're saying. Now, the only way I can see Georgia coming out of there is if they were taken out for a team that's undefeated and they won their conference championship. But the only other undefeated teams are Michigan, Washington, and Florida State, which are already in. So therefore, if there's no other team that's going to win their conference and they're undefeated, you can't take Georgia out. Hey, I'm with you. I'm glad this is the last year that there's going to be 4. They should have expanded this years ago because, I mean, even look at the rankings right now, these top 8, because I think they're going to expand it to 12 or something 12, like that.
12, and the first
Yeah,
4 teams have a bye.
And that makes sense. So, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State on the bye. I wouldn't have no problem with it. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama being in. I definitely wouldn't have no problem with it. And if they were at 12, hey, my Missouri Tigers would be in the college football playoff. So I definitely wouldn't have no problem with that. So, we ain't been worth the damn. So, get that shine on. I'll take it. But nah, man, I wanted to definitely pique your interest on that since the rankings did drop since we did the last show on Monday. But hey, you college football fans, man, you are about to get some good football this weekend because every game it's championship weekend, man. It's going to matter, and every championship game has something on the line. It has something that matters. Hey, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, if you hear me, make it easy on yourselves. Just win. And you're in. Win. Just win, baby. Just win. Just win.
You already know how that's going to be. Social media is not going to stop if one of those teams lose.
Oh my gosh. Man, Twitter's going to explode. Twitter's going to explode with all type of hypotheticals and scenarios that people are just going to throw out. Let's move on to some other stuff, man, because man, it looks like we're starting to see the downfall of the Buffalo Bills. For those who didn't pay attention or get the alert today, Von Miller is a warrant has been issued for his arrest. A lot of the details haven't been released yet. But there's pretty much saying that he had a situation with a pregnant woman down in Dallas and alleged assault. Now, obviously, because it's alleged situation and a lot of the details aren't being released, I'm not going to really speak on it. You're more than welcome to, AR, but just me personally, it's just more signs of the downfall of the Buffalo Bills, man. It's a mess up there. Yeah. It's a mess over there, man. I mean, even with him dealing with this situation, I don't think it really changed the trajectory of the Buffalo Bills anyway. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, you remember me. I was saying all offseason, Bills are going to finish third in that division and possibly miss the playoffs. I mean, they're lucky that the Jets ended up not being as good as advertised, and, Rodgers got hurt as well. But, I didn't expect them to take a step forward this year. I expect them to take a step back. And right now they're sitting at about a 7 seed. If, they were to get in, that's probably what they're going to be, with or without him. I mean, he's still a productive player, obviously, but not the player he was in Denver. Obviously not the player he was with the Rams either. When he's healthy, he's a good asset, but just another day and another news article to make football players look bad. We don't know what happened, but usually things like this, when it comes to assaulting a pregnant woman, usually things like that aren't too often to be made up. So yeah, you have to guess there's some validity with it, but again, like I always say, until someone's proven guilty, you can't make assumptions and tear down the person's character and their basically their image, because like we've been talking about with the Giddey incident. I'm not sure. Is that later in the show? We're gonna go over that again, because I know more news broke about that. So I don't want to go over now.
No, go ahead. Speak on it.
Oh yeah. So apparently now in that case, like how I told you, we don't know certain information about the girl or whatever it may be. Her and her parents won't cooperate with the police trying to do the investigation.
Yeah, I saw that.
So what does that now lead you to believe? Now, my assumption is she was trying to get a bag, and now they're not cooperating with police because they're gonna, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to, I don't know, beat around the bush, lie about something. So, these things should be taken very seriously. But the worst thing that always comes out of these situations are people jumping to conclusions before the 100% facts are given. So, like you said, I don't want to speak on it because, again, I don't know 100% what's going on. But it's definitely something to look out for.
No, I'm with you on that, and because they're just pretty much giving us the, I guess the preliminary information. She was pregnant, and they got into an altercation and whatnot. The fact of the matter is, we don't know the hardcore facts or what's the truth. So but to speak on that Josh Giddey situation, I did see exactly what you were talking about, where the young lady and their parents refused to corroborate. And I obviously look, I'm not no SVU, investigator. I'm not Olivia Stabler So my thing is when a person's not corroborating, they are either one, hiding the truth and don't want the truth to come out, or they're really trying to hide their true intentions of the whole situation to begin with. Because if it was something that was so wrong and they felt like it was wrong, then there's no reason to not corroborate. You know what I'm saying? If you're a victim, and trust me, I've seen the the mental side of certain victims where they're a little bit shy to come out and speak their truth because they're afraid of backlash, or feel like their truth won't be heard, or justice won't be served. And I understand that part, and I totally do. But in this situation, it's I've also seen reports that she's kind of bragging about being with Josh Giddey.
Exactly. She put it out there. She's like, "Oh, I slept with Josh Giddey." Like, that isn't someone that's obviously, number one, isn't someone that's harmed by the scenario if she's bragging about it. And two, if she's bragging about it and the police are asking a simple question, or what age were you, those kind of things, you answer the question. Now, if this whole thing came out saying that you were underaged, but you are of age, that's why you're not going to cooperate. People are trying to say, I saw on the comment section, Josh Giddey's paying him off. Josh Giddey don't make that much money yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not paying off worthy, because if they were to sue him over something, they'd make a lot more money than him trying to give him hush money. So, again, people making assumptions got to wait until the full story's out, until there's a verdict. Because, again, we can all speculate stuff, but we're never going to know what exactly it is until everything's wrapped up.
True that. And I don't know if you saw the video, but I saw Andrew Bogut, who is a former NBA player, and he has the inside scoop that Oklahoma City knew about this situation a year ago. So a lot of this stuff is, according to him, is kind of just now coming to light. And the brass of Oklahoma City Thunder have already kind of known about this situation. They've already kind of handled it. That's why it kind of answers to that part on why they haven't set them down, because they're looking at this situation with their information and their knowledge of the situation, where is really nothing to really worry about. So that's where they're coming from, and that's what's been brought to light too. So that kind of speaks volume as well. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was something that was very major, look, especially in 2023, if you know it's something going to be detrimental to your company, you pretty much separate yourselves right immediately. Away. Yeah. And since there wasn't no separation from Josh Giddey and Oklahoma City Thunder, I guess that kind of was one of those kind of situations where you're like, well, we kind of done our own investigation. It's really nothing to even be worried about. So, hey, man, keep playing on. And that kind of answers to that as well. So, again, obviously, until things changes, that's kind of where I'm at on that situation. If she is a true victim, hey, go seek your true justice. But if you're not corroborating with the authorities, and this is kind of like a situation that's pretty much a year old, I'm kind of starting to get the little pieces, put the pieces together. Like, I ain't saying she a gold digger. You know what I'm saying? But she ain't messing with them broke.
Yeah.
Hey man, for real. I didn't hear about the Ryan Shazier situation, Smitty.
I'm gonna search it up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, because I did not hear about that situation. So, but man, it's not looking good for Von Miller. Obviously, I don't like you said, AR. I don't want to speculate, but it's not looking good when you involve a pregnant woman into assault in the same sentence. That don't look good at all. But there's another team, a couple more teams in the AFC. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my fault. It said Ryan Shazier's wife exposes alleged text to other women, liar and cheater. So apparently he and his wife had separated after she reportedly accused him of cheating in a since deleted Instagram post on Wednesday.
Hey, man. Hey. Yeah. The side chick, that sounds like definitely a side chick to those situations right there. Hey, that's all. Hey, yeah, man. Hey, fellas, I'm gonna say this: when you come into this position of money, when you come into this position of a platform, and you know, get your little spotlight, get you some money in your pocket. You know, money is AKA is almost like it's almost like honey to the bees, man. And the bees are the women. So be careful what you do. Be mindful what you do. Me personally, if I was ever in that situation, I probably would have never get married. If I was ever in the spotlight like that. Just me, just my opinion. It's just my thoughts and opinions. It ain't for everybody else. Just because it's you know, let me enjoy myself, and then once I, you know, feel like settling down, then I'll be ready for that. But you know, hey, just be careful out there, man. Don't get yourself caught into a situation, man. That's all I'm saying. Be careful out there, young fellas and ladies. Don't get yourself caught into a situation that's could be detrimental not only to yourself, to your image, to everything that you worked hard for. Because especially when you get to that point and level, man, that's something that you worked your ass off for, and it can go down the drain real quick, man. So just be careful, be mindful, man. So Von Miller in some shit. We've seen it time and time with other athletes, and man, gotta be smart. Gotta be smart. So here's what I wanted to talk about. Thank God the NFL is finally flexing a game, and it's the first ever Monday Night Football game getting flexed. The Patriots and Chiefs in Week 16. As a Chiefs fan, trust me, I am not hurt that y'all flexing out this game because I do not want to see Chiefs and Patriots on Monday Night Football because that matchup is absolutely dog dookie. But this is what I want to talk about in relations to the Patriots. Obviously, we talked about the downfall and things when it comes to Belichick and you know, if it was him or Brady. But Tom Brady has some interesting things to say. And I thought that they were, you know, we really didn't get a chance to, you know, talk about them. But he went on the Stephen A. Smith show, and he said some very interesting things that I thought were thought-provoking, if I can say that. This is was some of the things that he has said on the show with Stephen A. Smith, and I'm gonna play it, get this tuned up, and we'll take a listen, and we'll give our thoughts and opinions.
A lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not?
And
why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. Mm-hmm. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been. I think I look at a lot of players like Ray Lewis and Rodney Harrison and Ronnie Lott and guys that impacted the game in a certain way. And every hit they would have made would have been a penalty. You hear coaches complaining about their own player being tackled and not necessarily, why don't they talk to their player about how to protect himself? We used to work on the fundamentals of those things all the time. Now they're trying to be regulated all the time. Offensive players need to protect themselves. It's not up to a defensive player to protect offensive player. A defensive player needs to protect himself. I didn't throw the ball to certain areas because I was afraid players were going to get knocked out. That's the reality. Wow. I didn't throw it to the middle when I played Ray Lewis because you knock him out of the game, and I couldn't afford to. There's a lot of mediocrity in today's
man. What'd you think of that, AR?
I mean, you can look at that a couple of ways. I mean, I don't think he's saying anything wrong. I mean, he's first of all, he's speaking from personal experience. You know, he's walked the walk. You know what I'm saying? He's played. He played a very long career. He's seen kind of different eras of the game because he played for so long, and he's been through the ups and downs of the penalties on the defenders and rule changes and stuff like that. So, by mediocrity, I don't think he means talent of players. I interpret it as the style of game that's being played, similar like people say to the NBA in three-point shooting and flopping and stuff like that. It's kind of like the NFL version of that, where like roughing the passer has been very bad in the last couple of years, like everyone complains about. Certain things like that, certain hits, players are getting fined $40,000 a clip because they lowered their head a little bit. Like things like that, I think is the mediocrity he's talking about. And, to a point, he's correct. Now, I do agree that, some hits, some lowering the head on defenseless players that we've seen get penalized now and stuff like that, like things like the hit on Antonio Brown years ago or things like that. I remember Brandon Marshall one time getting destroyed across the middle, head-to-head contact. I forgot who I think maybe the 49ers or Ravens, like just got his head taken off. Like things like that, yes, that deserves a penalty. But, certain things, defenders can't control. It's a very fast, very physical game. And you can't, control your body that quick. Again, these dudes are running around 230, 240, flying across the field. You can't control yourself that good. So with certain things, yes, there must be penalties, but with certain things as well, you got to let the game play out.
Yeah. You're not wrong in what you're saying, because I think Tom Brady did bring up some good points on coaching of certain players, development of certain players. Point in case, look at certain the coaching that's been going on in the New York Jets or your lower tier teams that aren't doing well. Frank Reich just got fired. Wasn't doing a great job of coaching. So, developing players, the player development. That's, he's right on that. You bring up a good point because he has seen, he played, was drafted in 2000. So he just retired last year. So you're talking about literally 22, 23 years. And in between those 23 years is so many different styles of NFL game that has been played. So he's kind of seen the tail end of the physical play, and then he's kind of been at the forefront of the NFL making all these rule changes to produce more offense. And that's the easiest way to describe that. Now, for him to say it, there are some truths. But here's my thing. There's a such thing as in messages can get lost by who the messenger is. And I'm not saying that Tom Brady shouldn't have said what he said. It's just that when Tom Brady himself has pretty much, gotten the advantages of a lot of the rule changes, for me, it's just like, wait, did you really just say that? Like, because a lot of the advantages have helped his career. Even some as small as the tuck rule helped his career. Something, as in when he got the ACL injury in 08, 09, it was a rule on hitting the quarterbacks low. And that was because the NFL lost him for a season. Right. there's certain things that I just feel like where, yes, I understand what he's saying. Like, oh yeah, Ray Lewis and some of the Rodney Harrisons, the Rodney Lotts, they'd have been flagged like a mug right now in this NFL. Yes, he's 100% right. But the thing is that, a good chunk of his career helped him be successful. And right. Just for me, it kind of took me back because the comments that he made when it comes about the mediocrity play of the NFL. And I'm like, well, you kind of benefited a lot from the mediocrity in the play in the NFL. When Alex Smith dropped his comments, was like, yo, man, you played in that weak ass division for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing wrong with having your opinion and saying that. Sometimes it makes a difference on who's delivering the message. His message is right. It's 100% right, and he's spot on. It's just that when you look at the history of how you in his personal career benefited in this mediocrity NFL, that's when it's like, should you have said that? You like for me, like I'd have been okay if Phillip Rivers had said that. I'd have been okay if Joe Flacco, not Joe Flacco, he got a Super Bowl in there, but maybe Dan Marino has said that, or somebody that didn't have the benefit of these rules that the NFL plays by. I wouldn't even pay it no attention. I'm like, yo, you 100% right. It's just him as the messenger delivering that message, kind of just, you sure?
Yeah, I mean, he did benefit from it a lot. That's the issue with that. I mean, I didn't even personally think about it like that. So that's a good point that you brought up. But, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's the same situation when old heads talk about the 90s defense is better than the NBA. And then you go back and you watch clips from the 90s, like finals, and like there was no defense being played. So, I've
seen that before.
So, it's like people are going to like criticize no matter who says it, but especially a dude like Tom Brady, who's already like heavily criticized because of, who he was for the sport. But, I think there's validity, like you said, because, I mean, the rules did benefit him. But again, he's kind of been that guy that's, commented on BS, roughing the passer, things like that. Like he's kind of stuck with his same mentality about it. I mean, even though it benefited him, he played in the era where there was like, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, like those dudes on the other side. Like, he still played in the league where those kind of things were allowed. And then, through his career, it obviously transitioned into this kind of era of football. So, that's why I think it suits best that he would say it, because he experienced both hands of it. He experienced more of that hard-nosed football, and then he's experienced this kind of current era of football.
That's fair. Yeah, that's hey, that brings up a valid point. And when he's seen it all, done it all, now that you say it like that I guess that kind of lessens the question mark look on my face when he said that, because I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So it kind of like, wait, hold up. But I mean, end of the day, I know the NFL has a job to do. They want to make money, they want to make ratings, and at the same time, I mean, let's be honest, they also want to avoid lawsuits when it comes to injuries too. Because they don't want to be held accountable for that whole CTE situation was enough. They don't want to deal with no more of that anymore. That was enough scrutiny, but it didn't. I should say it didn't stop the NFL's popularity, if that makes sense. That's for sure. But no, man, that makes a total sense. You definitely bring up some good points on that. Let me ask you this. Aaron Rodgers, clear for practice. Are you buying him returning? You think he's going to return?
So I was actually listening to it on the way to school this morning. So I was on the road like 6:30 this morning on the way to school. So I was listening to 98.7. I forgot who's on at that time. Forgot their names. I like to listen to their show, but they were talking about it, and I think he's gonna return. I think he's gonna return because, like they said, he is stubborn in his own right. You know, he wants to prove a point. No, like seriously, he wants to prove a point about like the psychedelic stuff and like how it's beneficial and the things that he are doing, works for people. And they said that a story came out that actually while he was still in the building the night he got hurt, he was talking about his target return time during the season. So this has been something that he's been talking about and that he wants to do. Does it make sense for the Jets? No. Does it benefit the Jets? No. But at the end of the day, that organization right now is the Aaron Rodgers show, no matter how you want to look at it. Brought in his coordinator, brought in his dudes. That team is Aaron Rodgers right now. You know what I'm saying? He's what makes headlines right now. No one even gives a shit about how they're playing. Besides, saying that they play bad. It's all about Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. So I don't think it's smart, but again, you also run the risk. He comes back, gets hurt again. That offensive line is terrible. It's terrible. So, all right, he comes back, boom, pops it again because he's running around on a tender Achilles. I don't know. I don't think it's smart, but I really do think at least the last 3 games he'll probably be back.
I think it's foolish, quite honestly. Yeah. What does he gain from coming back? The team's 4-7. Looking at the rest of their schedule, and I did see that he was talking about coming back week 16. If he comes back week 16, looking at the next couple of games, they got I think the Texans. I can't remember who else they got. Let me pull it up real quick. I don't even have them favored in any of those games, especially right now, the way that they're playing right now. I know Smitty is very optimistic. He'll say they'll be 7-7 by the time he comes back. I highly doubt that. Look, you're not even favored against the Falcons. You know how bad you are when you're not favored against the Falcons? The Falcons are trash.
Well, it don't matter because we were favored against the Falcons and we lost. So,
but they're not even favored against the Falcons, man.
So he said 7-7. To be honest,
yeah, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. But I mean, right now the Falcons have more to play for than the Jets. I mean, just because of the division that they're in, you don't want to keep losing ground. So the Falcons got more to win. I think they'll be more motivated to play. So I don't think that's a win for the Jets. They got the Texans after that. I don't think they're better than the Texans. The Texans got more to play for. They're in a playoff. They're in a playoff push right now. So they're going to be more motivated to win that game. Then you got the Dolphins, who wants to win that division. So that's 3 more weeks. So he comes back against the Commanders. You're what, 4-10? What motivation is there to come back for? I mean, hello, somebody tell me, when did the Jets improve their offensive line? Let me know.
Yeah, exactly. Until that happens, no matter who comes back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I'm looking at it. And I mean, like, I get your point about the motivation, but like when I was listening to the radio today, I also got the other aspect of it. All right, he's back at practice. You already knew how hype everyone was in that locker room for him to be playing with him. They, on Hard Knocks, they were feeling different. So I also heard it like, oh crap, Aaron's back. He's trying to make a return. That might motivate them more to just get through these next couple weeks. Maybe get through by 2-1 these next. Maybe steal it from the Texans, because I don't think you beat the Dolphins, but maybe you get the next 2 wins. You know what I'm saying? And these last 3 games, you can finish up. What is that? 9-8, right? Am I right with that? 9-8. Yeah, so they could be 9-8, maybe squeak in.
If they win the next two, that'll put them at 6 and 7, which wouldn't eliminate them. So they at least be in the fight. Yeah, hey, that's not a bad take. It really isn't. It's just the fact is, we haven't seen anything of the sort from the team that is on the field without Aaron Rodgers to say that they're able to do that. They haven't been able to protect Aaron Rodgers. They weren't able to protect him for 4 plays. They weren't able to protect Zach Wilson. They sure as hell ain't been able to protect Tim Boyle. So I mean that's your only options you got until quote unquote Aaron Rodgers comes back. I'm just having a hard time seeing them performing at that level. I mean, I can possibly see them beating the Falcons because Desmond Ridder is just so awful of a quarterback.
Yeah, I see them beating them because they might have 2-3 turnovers in that game. You know what I'm saying? I think that they could win that game because of their defense. The only thing is against the Texans is like the Texans have a good defense. So it's not like you're playing a team with just a good offense. Their offense is very good. So, again, how long can your defense stop a good offense when your offense can't do anything? You know what I'm saying? That's the big thing. Yeah. I was high on the Jets going into the season, but I don't think if you would have told me their offensive line would have been this bad, I would have believed you. They weren't supposed to be that bad. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I feel like if you give Zach Wilson or whoever is behind there a little bit more time, it's a different scenario, You can't be back there worrying about getting your head taken off by the time you hit your back foot. It's like watching that Monday night game. That's one of the worst Monday night games I've ever watched because by the time either quarterback hit their back foot, there was 2 dudes about to tackle them. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. I understand, Smitty. There's been injuries on that offensive line. I get it. But at the end of the day, that's the situation you're in, I totally understand the situation when it comes to the injuries, but I also haven't been a fan of Nathaniel Hackett, and I'm not even a Jets fan. I think he's probably one of the worst offensive coordinators. I think he's probably one of the worst people to ever have a coaching job in NFL history. So he hasn't done any other quarterbacks any favors as well. So that also doesn't give me any type of amount of faith that they can go win 3, maybe 2 of these next games and have that team prime for Aaron Rodgers in Week 16. So that kind of I got to factor that into it. So I'm just like between a shaky offensive line and a real crappy offensive coordinator. I haven't seen anything of worth of a matter that gives me faith that they're going to be able to say, hey, Aaron Rodgers, hey, man, please come back and risk your health and with us and get some playoff push. Garrett Wilson is still nice, but you haven't even able. Well, yeah, but you haven't even been able to get the numbers from him because it's been hard to get him the football. Exactly. So it's just been a rough year for the Jets. I know Jets fans just haven't been able to smile out of all the potential that they thought the team was going to be. But that's what happens, man. I don't think they properly addressed the offensive line. I think a lot of Jets fans downplayed the actual weakness at the offensive line. And I think they downplayed it throughout the whole preseason. I will always go back to that point where Aaron Rodgers in Hard Knocks said, man, this O-line, we got to get it together. When I saw that, I'm like, he's telling you exactly what the hell their weakness is going to be at and where we're going to have an issue at. Right. And I don't think they properly addressed it. But, hey, anytime you stick Dwayne Brown out there at left tackle with his bum-ass shoulder and expect him to block Micah Parsons one-on-one makes a lot of damn sense. Nathaniel Hackett, you whack God. Job of OC. I'm just saying, man. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing?
It's the Jets. It's the Jets.
It's crazy, man. But no, hey, bruh. but it sucks because as an NFL fan, I wanted them to have be competitive with Aaron Rodgers because it would have meant for another team in the AFC that could possibly, make it more, more entertaining because you got so many different teams that could possibly, win that conference.
Exactly.
And because, it's now we lost Joe Burrow. That doesn't. There's another team pretty much taking out the contention. So it just sucked that we weren't able to get the full impact of Aaron Rodgers in the Jets. So Jets fans, you weren't the only people robbed. Football fans, we were robbed as a whole. But it is what it is, man. Let's move on because, I don't know about you, man. This is the game of the week. 49ers, Eagles. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a good game. These guys are going to get after it. They've been already having the chirping going on since even after the NFC Championship game last year. They've been, kind of throwing subliminals at each other. They've been, kind of saying this, saying that, having a little war of words. Man, listen to this. Deebo Samuel. Smitty said Rodgers and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to be special next year.
Marvin Harrison is my dark horse to go number one.
It's possible. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to go number one. My thing is why does it always got to be a QB to go number one? It don't always have to be a QB. Marvin Harrison Jr. is that damn good. He really is. He is that damn good. And hell, don't be surprised if his name gets called in New York for that Heisman either. Don't get surprised. But listen to this, man. Deebo Samuel was on Kay Adams' podcast, and they had an interesting conversation.
What is the cause of the Ewan Bradbury thing? If you could explain it in terms I can understand. Was there a moment on the field?
No, it wasn't necessarily a moment of the field. We was just talking ball that, said what I said, and and they dragged it on or whatever. But whatever the case may be, but it's kind of like I said it yesterday. Like, at the end of the day, like I said it. Yeah, I said it, but I don't regret it.
Now, obviously, you heard Hassan Reddick. I heard boo-hoos. I saw that. I don't know if he's talking. I don't know who he's talking to, the boo-hoos and all of that. But I do want to ask you, and here's the quote, talk is cheap. They get to come back into the link. It was a lot of boo-hoos last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what-ifs, a lot of this, a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that shit up, and prove it again. So, boo-hoos, Deebo?
Hey, man, we'll catch you on Sunday.
Is this one of those? Is this one of those where you see Shanahan and you say, yo, give me a chance to chip number 7 on this next play?
No, I don't play that type of game.
You don't want to block Hassan?
No, whatever. Whatever Cal asks me to do, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to go to him and be like, yo, let me chip this guy or anything like that. Nah.
I feel like you asked for the ball, though. This isn't one of those where you're like, hey.
I'm not a guy that go in there. I'm not a guy that go in there and ask for the ball either. Like, I think Cal knows his personnel and he knows, what all his players are capable of, and he do a great job of sharing the ball around.
Yeah. What?
Hey, all right, let me ask you, man. Rivalry games. People get to talking, get a little chirping. Hey, man, what does it do for you as a guy, and when you're about to get on that field and the emotions are going to be a little bit, amped up a little bit? Like what does that do for you, man?
It's hard to describe with words, but it's something different. Like, I remember this year, our biggest game of the season, we had lost the in conference game that if we would have won, the next game we played, which was our last in conference game, we would have just needed one more win and made the playoffs, the national playoffs. So we had 2 conference games back to back. We lose the first one, so we're like, to a team that we should have beat. But again, rivalry game. They ended up beating us by 1 score. Next week, we're playing the number 1 team in the conference. They're undefeated in the conference. And they had them to beat us by 17.5 points or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, like, all right, worse. Now we got to travel down to Virginia to play these dudes. So 8-hour bus ride overnight. It's their senior day. They got the trophies and everything there. And this team that we play, they have the biggest budget in D3. So their stadium is huge. Full grass field. Like, they have a donor's box in the end zone. Like, bro, it was crazy. And we were so locked in for that game. Like, usually, pregame, you're like, hooting and hollering. Everyone's loud. Bro, we were quiet. We were quiet the whole pregame. We came out, and that's the game I broke the record in. I had the 13 catches for the 144. It was the best game of my life. And I had, I think, 40 yards receiving, 45, maybe 50, around like 45 yards receiving on that last drive alone on 3 catches. And we ended up winning that game by, like, I think it was 4 or 5 points. And, dude, it was the best feeling, like, we had all season. Because it was like no one gave us a chance. And just like last year, I know the 49ers feel disrespected. They didn't have Purdy. And they lost in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And they feel like that was their year last year. You know what I'm saying? And to lose the way they did losing Purdy, I know how it feels to feel like, dude, if I could have that game back, it's different. And that's how we felt against Roan when we played them and we lost. So going into that next week, that next matchup against the conference team, we were so locked in. So I know where Debo's coming from. I got the 49ers in this one, especially since Dallas Goedert and Lane Johnson are still questionable because they both didn't play last week and they're not confirmed for this week. So not having Lane Johnson and Goddard and the Niners trying to get back on them, I got the Niners this week.
Man, making early predictions already. I mean, hey, I'm not mad at it because here's my thing. I'm not mad that they're having a little war words. Hey, to me as a football fan, it makes it a little bit more intriguing. But just kind of just the demeanor off of Debo, man. Like you said, he's locked in. He's ready to go. Now, I don't want it to get ugly. Obviously, with emotions being high, I don't want to see a whole bunch of 15-yard penalties and flags.
Big ass Trent Williams.
Hey, whew. Hey, you talking about bodyguard.
He stepped up in there, everyone turn around.
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, he's the guy that can move the pile. He'll clear the way. That's for sure. He'll definitely clear the way. It's one of those things where okay. Hey, I know you joking, Smitty, but I don't know, bro.
Maybe if you were driving a car or something.
Go ask. Nah, he had to be driving like one of them tanks to take out Trent Williams. I put my money on Trent Williams versus any vehicle that's not an 18-wheeler. It's no, for real. That guy scares me. This is one of those games where is going to come down to who's going to make the less mistakes, obviously. But it's going to be a physical game. I heard it's going to be some bad weather out there in Philly. Might possibly be some rain. So that changes your game plan for sure. I don't think nobody's going to be willing to air it out. So, yeah, it kind of takes your playbook and kind of minimizes it for sure. But when you got little situations like this, man, this is the stuff that you must love as a football fan because you're like, it's the WWE aspect. Go ahead and chirp as much as you want because it's going to give you that extra added, a little seasoning on that football game to make everybody, a little perked up to, go ahead and watch that game because I'm more intrigued now for sure. especially listen to that. Hassan Reddick said what he said. Brandon Ayuk said what he said right after the game, right after the NFC Championship game. So I'm with it. I'm down for it. But here's my only kickback to this. Now, when you are the Eagles and you talking about the 49ers boo-hooing, crying, talking smack, what if, y'all were kind of doing the same thing too. I kind of remember y'all, talking a little crazy after the Super Bowl about, we played the Chiefs on another field and if this and all I'm saying is it's okay to talk a little smack, but don't be the kettle when calling the 49ers the pot black. That's all I'm saying. You were kind of doing a little bit of crying and whining too after the Super Bowl. I got receipts.
They're doing it worse.
So yeah.
They're doing it, bro.
Yeah,
their starting quarterback and backup quarterback. First of all, their starting quarterback was their backup. Their backup quarterback, who's now their starter, gets taken out. Now their backup gets taken out.
Yeah.
And they lose the game. Bro, y'all complain about a field. You're both on the same field.
Yeah.
I like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He was a Saint. You know what I'm saying? I like him, but he's talking about, that's on turf. It's a different story. Mm-hmm. Bro, you're playing on the same field. A roster injury. Now, I'm not saying complain. Everyone's gonna complain no matter what. But your quarterback getting hurt, and then your backup quarterback getting hurt is a lot different than playing on a grass field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's nowhere near the same thing. There wasn't uneven playing field when you're playing on a grass field because you're both playing on it. But you know what I'm saying? The Niners have more, I guess, of a reason to complain because Purdy was hurt, and then I forgot their backup, but their backup for Purdy got hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
Johnson, he got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I just feel like, again, the Eagles are in a position where, they're the team that's 10-1. They're the team to beat right now. So they better not take this game lightly because the Niners have been looking good again ever since they had that little bump in the road. You know what I'm saying? Beating the Jaguars like they did a couple weeks back. You know what I'm saying? So they better take this game correctly because if they don't approach the game correctly, this is going to definitely end up as a loss for them, in my opinion.
Hey, man, I'm with you, man. Because I think the 49ers are going to be a little bit more emotionally charged to get this one because they want to say, hey, yeah, we at full strength now. This is what should have happened in the NFC Championship. Now it doesn't 100% rectify it because the Eagles was just in this position a couple of weeks ago when they beat Kansas City. Okay, you beat Kansas City in Week 11, but it doesn't change the fact of what happened in the Super Bowl. So right. Even if the 49ers win this game, it doesn't change the fact of what happened in the NFC Championship game. It is what it is. You can't. The only way you can rectify it is if both teams get back to the NFC Championship game. They're both at full strength, and then let the cards fall where they may. Then we can have that conversation on what really would have happened in the NFC Championship game last year. But let's get to we like to do our NFL power rankings here at I.O.W. Sports every Thursday. I don't know if you got your list together, AR, but I'll go ahead and start with mine. And for me, this is kind of just how I feel where the teams are at, based on not only what they did last week, but kind of what they've been doing all season. So I kind of take into account things like that. But for me, starting at number 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. For me, starting at number 10, I hate to say it, but
wait, what teams on the fence are you leaving out first? Who are your honorable mentions?
My honorable mentions are Seattle, Colts, Houston, and Denver. Those are my honorable mentions. Right, so I got them on the outside looking in.
Yeah, me too.
I love Houston, but I thought they had a good chance to make some noise and get in a first place tie with Jacksonville, and then they just couldn't close the deal. And I saw a couple of things that I didn't like that I saw. They were letting C.J. Stroud get hit. The pass rush was getting to him. They weren't able to hold that line. Seahawks, I love them, but they're too up and down for me this year. Colts, I don't think they're there. And then Denver, I know they're on a nice little 5-game win streak, but I can't put them in the top 10 with these other teams. I got the Browns at 10. Now I know, they got a little quarterback situation, but they're still 7-4. Their defense is still elite. I know Myles Garrett got the little shoulder, a little injury. They saying he's avoided significant injury to it, so it's not too much to be worried about. So I got the Browns at 10. I have these Steelers at 9. Hey, fire your OC and then you get 400 plus yards. Imagine how that works, huh? Yeah. Right.
I mean, like, it's about time he got fired. Holy crap. I mean, it's like you got a guy like him
Canada
who has a job, and then you have the guy from Buffalo getting fired. Like,
yeah. Matt Canada, I don't know what took Pittsburgh. Well, because here's the thing. I know Pittsburgh, they don't like, they're almost like the franchise that don't like to fire people. They like to be pretty much the model of consistency, which is cool. But you were consistently having a bad offense, and you're wasting that good defense that you had. So, Hey, good job making that move. Matt Canada, Hackett, they're probably in that same category of trash coaching, and I don't know how the hell they get jobs, but regardless.
A robbery of $1 million.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars robbery.
Facts.
Holy crap.
Yeah, right. Number 8. I got the Miami Dolphins.
Are you serious?
Hey. Yeah.
No, I'm saying because I have
them
at 8 as well. I have them at 8 as well. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I didn't think you were going to have them that low. Yeah.
Well, because my thing is like we're not going to continue beating down sub 500 teams and yakking it up and thinking that's all dope. They just lost their pass rusher Phillips on the defensive side. That wasn't good. I know the offense is top notch. Tyreek's having one hell of a career season. He's going to eclipse some crazy numbers. But my thing is that defense is still, you can still move the ball on them, and losing a pass rush, it doesn't help. I know Jalen Ramsey came back and he's had a couple of interceptions, but it's not too crazy. 7, I got the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are almost like the Dolphins in the sense that, hey, okay, let's keep beating up on sub 500 teams. But what else? I get it, and especially we'll talk about it later in the show, what they're going to do tonight with Seattle. I got a feeling they're going to win, and I can't wait for the Cowboys fans to say, see, look, we beat a team that wasn't 500 and below. Okay, calm down. We're talking about a 6-5 Seattle team, so I don't want to hear. But Cowboys at 7 for me. 6, I got the Jaguars. I kind of been a little disappointed with them this year, but I will say this: I thought that was a solid win over Houston Texans because they've been playing good football. And hey, when it matters, Trevor Lawrence, I'll give him his props. Although he's still kind of, got to calm down on the turnovers and the interceptions and the fumbles. When it matters, he's making the right plays, getting the football to his receivers, and hey, can't sneeze at 8-3. Can't sneeze at 8-3. Next, I have Chiefs fans. Don't be mad at me. I know I'm a Chiefs fan, so don't kill me on this. I got the Chiefs at 5. Reason why I got the Chiefs at 5 is, hey, say what you want. Sometimes you kill yourselves. You should have won that game against Philly. I'm glad you bounced back against the Raiders. Cool. You know, everybody should bounce back against the Raiders. But the problem is there's some games that you left on the table. There's some teams that especially offensively wise, had just been, better production, better than you. So I got the Chiefs at 5. At 4, I got the Lions. I know people are like, oh, they just lost. But just for me, I can't put the Chiefs ahead of the Lions because head-to-head, the Lions beat the Chiefs. That's just my theory on that. They got the same record. And, the Lions, hey, say what you want. I know they kind of looking shaky the last couple of weeks against the Bears and lost on Thanksgiving in the same manner, had some turnovers, but they managed to come back against the Bears. They fell short against the Packers. I still like what they're doing, and they're still on top of that division right there. 3, I got the Ravens. I got the Ravens at 3. Ravens kind of play with their food a little bit. The 3 losses that they had have definitely been self-inflicted. The defense has gotten better. But there's more production I need from Lamar Jackson. I picked him to be my MVP. He hasn't put the numbers up. I'm hoping that he breaks out of that slump and down his stretch. I hope he plays like out of his freaking mind and put up some great numbers. But I got Ravens at 3. 2, 49ers. I mean, they look like they're back to being that solid team. Got some people healthy. Obviously, Debo getting healthy, Trent Williams getting healthy, CMC still producing, Kittle, I.O.W. You can go on and on. That front 4 on the defensive side is getting after it. A great job by John Lynch going and adding Chase Young, who seemed like he was in purgatory in Washington, but as soon as he switches jerseys, he may not have the numbers to show that he's getting after it, but his impact has helped make that front 4 more meaner, more vicious, and they're getting after the quarterback for sure with the 49ers. And, Eagles at 1. I don't think it, hey, you're 10-1. Is it the prettiest 10-1? No. But I say this, it ain't got to be pretty. It ain't got to be cute. You just got to go get the W. And they found a way to get it 10 times and only lost once. So say what you want about the Eagles or the deficiencies. End of the day, when the clock strikes 0, they have won 10 times and only lost 1. So you just got to give them their credit right there. All right, the floor is yours, AR. Go ahead, my brother.
All right. So number 10, I got the Browns. Like you said, quarterback situation. That's really the thing for me that's holding them back. If you have a healthy Deshaun Watson, I was high on him this year. He started to kind of figure it out right before that injury, played through that injury, but sadly, he got affected by injuries there. So that's what's going to keep them down at 10 for me. But again, that defense is scary good, especially when they get some help from their offense. That defense is very good. Number 9, I have the Steelers as well. New look offense now. Putting over 400 yards in how many games that was? I think it was in the 50s, right? How many games without 400 yards? So I mean, if they could, they only got to do that every game. But with the Steelers being able to move the ball again with that defense, it's just that's another team that if their offense is at least average, it's going to make them so much better now because you're not just relying on your defense holding a team to 10 points, 13 points. You know what I'm saying? It's not realistic against especially some of these high-powered offensive teams when you get to the playoffs, So they're my number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, I got the Dolphins, just like you. Again, you got to beat some good teams. The record's good. And unlike the Eagles have a lot of close games, but they have close game wins against good teams. And they beat the Dolphins. So, you take the close game wins, especially against good teams. If you're just a team that flat out can't beat good teams but beat up on the crappy teams, I can't give you that yet until you beat one of those top-notch teams. Again, the 70-20 was cool. It's whatever. But you got up early on a team that didn't have their shit together, and you ran up the score. You play the Bills, you get blown out. Play the Eagles, you get handled. You play the Chiefs, close game, but you blow a lead. You blow a lead. I mean, they were up, 14-0 and lose 21-14? It says right here. You barely beat the Raiders, and the Jets were in that game for a while. The Jets were in that game for a while. I was watching it. They had the pick six, and then, things kind of went downhill from there. That's why momentum in football especially is just such a key component sometimes. But until the Dolphins, get a big win, which you have their last 3 games are the Cowboys, Ravens, and then the Bills again. So, going into the playoffs, they have a playoff caliber schedule. So that's really good. It's going to tell us, what kind of team they are going into the playoffs. Number 7, I have the Jaguars. And the reason why I have the Jaguars at 7, I'm going to pull up their stuff real quick, really was that loss to the Niners. Yes, I know, everyone has a bad loss sometimes, but that loss was a very, very bad loss. They couldn't do anything on offense, couldn't protect Lawrence. Lawrence got banged up after that game. It was not a good game. So yeah, I mean, they straightened it out. Again, they beat the Saints on our tight end dropping it in the end zone. They have they beat the Texans, but again, they did lose 3 scores to the Texans the last time they played them. Couple close games to the Colts. So, I mean, the Jaguars are very good, yes, but we have to see them over these next couple games against the Bengals, against the Browns, against the Ravens. These good defenses protect Trevor Lawrence. Because, again, like we talk about these teams, if you can't protect your quarterback, no matter how good he is, you're not going to win games. So, they're my number 7. Unlike you, I have the Lions ranked under the Chiefs. So, I have the Lions at 6. And the reason why is because when certain situations, yes, the Lions beat the Chiefs, but I like to look at things more in depth. I don't like to look at, they just won or whatever like that. That game should not have been lost by the Chiefs. Again, those drops, and it's really been the theme for the Chiefs all season. The drops are horrendous. And that's what moves them down on my list, the Chiefs, because I am worried about their receiving core. Again, no matter how good your quarterback is, you need an offensive line, and you need dudes who are competent to make big plays. And besides Kelsey, which, again, he's getting older, people are scheming for him, obviously. He's going to get his. But, the Chiefs should not have lost that game at all. No chance. And, the pick 6 that Tony dropped, some big plays that Tony dropped in that game gave the Lions the win. So, again, you have to give the Lions your credit. But recently, with those games against the Bears and against the Packers, it's looking like they got to get back on track here. So I'm going to keep them on 6.
Fair.
Chiefs, I have 5 because of their receiving core. I don't have to say much about them. Their defense is actually playing amazing this year. Keeping them in games. Yeah. So again, you figure out receivers. Again, they'll be they're a Super Bowl contender at the end of the day. So figure out the receivers. I don't know if they got to go sit in front of the jug machine. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they got to do to get the hands right, but you got to get the hands right.
Hey, I was at the practice field the other day, and I had the shotgun in my hand and said, no. Y'all don't leave the facility unless y'all do an hour on the jug machines apiece. Every last one of y'all wide receivers. They thought I was crazy. I said, no. Y'all not going to lose no more games because of drop footballs. And guess what happened? They didn't drop too many against the Raiders. So I think my strategy worked out.
Listen, whatever gets it to work, because that Eagles game, man, my heart sank for Mahomes when I saw his reaction to that. I was like, wow, like that. Terrible. They lead the league in drops. It's crazy, but yeah, when they get the drops figured out, the Chiefs are going to do what the Chiefs do. Now this is where my list people might disagree with. I have the Ravens at 4. So the reason why I have the Ravens at 4 is without Mark Andrews, their offense is looking a little bit suspect. I still think they have a high-powered offense. Zay Flowers has been playing amazing. Odell's been looking very good, even though he's a little bit banged up. Odell's been looking good. And I like Edwards, and I think Mitchell's the other running back. That 1-2's been doing good. I think they have one other running back they're rotating in. They have a nice little room there. And obviously Lamar's Lamar. But without Andrews, I think that when they go up against these good teams, again, that Chargers team, their defense is pretty good, but the Chargers have just, they're a disappointment. But I don't want to get on that because you know how I feel about that coach. So I think 4 is a solid ranking. Obviously, I think that at any given day they can beat any of the top teams. It's just that without Mark Andrews, it really does limit their offense, and you could see it in that Chargers game. They were limited because the Chargers have a pretty good defense, but they're like talent-wise. Let me reframe that. Talent-wise, they have a good like on paper that defense looks nice, but their defense is ranked last against the pass, and they only. That score was low up until late. They had that last Zay Flowers touchdown. So I have them at 4. Number 3, I have the Cowboys. I am a top tier, don't give the Cowboys their flowers. And maybe that's because of one of my best friends is a Cowboys fan. And I like hating on him. And my grandpa's a Giants fan. But, their loss to the Eagles, again, questionable calls. Dak Prescott just barely steps out of bounds. They lose by 5 points. That game goes either way.
That's fair.
They had an early loss to the Cardinals. That's just one of those losses. They had the bad loss to the Niners. But again, teams go through up and downs. But since then, beat the Chargers, beat the Rams. Obviously, that close loss to the Eagles. Throttled the Giants, throttled the Panthers. And throttled the Commanders. The big thing with me with the Commanders is that, okay, I know the Commanders aren't that good of a team, but Howell did lead the league in passing going into that game. And he didn't do nothing. Turnovers, the whole 9 yards. And then again, they play the Seahawks tonight. The Cowboys defense is just that good. It really is that good. And if Dak Prescott just limits the turnovers like he's been doing this year a lot better, there's no reason why they should lose games. This is really their year to make the Super Bowl or make the NFC Championship. They're that good. They're that good, in my opinion. I mean, that defense, even with losing Trevon Diggs, picking up Gilmore in the offseason, their corner, I forgot his name, with the record for pick sixes. Dudes have been stepping up.
I think his name is Land or something like that, but he's been balling.
Yeah. He's been a great, he's basically playing that Trevon Diggs role from a couple years ago, getting picks, ball hawking right now. So to me, they're a very scary team to play. The rest of the way they have a rough schedule. They got obviously the Seahawks tonight. They got the Eagles week after. So
the tough ass schedule.
Dolphins. Yeah, this will show. Listen, are they legit? What's it going to be? Number 2, I have the Niners. Like you said, the Niners are just that good. Chase Young. I mean, that defensive line. I was saying, if you're a quarterback playing the Niners, you have to read the Bible front to back, back to front. Pray the rosary. You better be prepared to take a beating because, holy crap. Chase Young, he's just so explosive off the ball. Same thing with Nick Bosa. Hargraves in the middle. And then not to mention you have Warner. You know what I'm saying? That front 7 of the Niners is just something different.
It's ridiculous.
So, again, they had the little rough patch. Purdy had to face some adversity, but he's looking good again. I think you have one of, if not the best offensive player in football with McCaffrey. He's different as well. Kittle, Ayuk's been playing well. Debo, that team's legit. So again, obviously my number 1 team is the Eagles, so that'll tell who the best team in the league is. But the Niners are my Super Bowl pick in the beginning of the season. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, the Eagles, like you said, close games, yes, but if you win, you win. You know what I'm saying? If you win the Super Bowl by 1 point, you win the Super Bowl. It don't matter how much you win by. A win's a win at the end of the day. So until until they don't have the most wins, or again, if they lose to the Niners this week, I put the Niners over the Eagles, obviously, but until they get knocked off, they're the number one team at the end of the day. So
hey, that's good list.
That's my list.
I dig it. That's a good list. Good list. Man, we had some teams that weren't too far off from each other, and so that kind of tells you the consensus on some of these teams. So not bad. AR. We come to the point in the show where we're going to run through the Week 13 preview real quick before we get up out of here. And of course, hey, just like you said, we start with tonight's game, which will be starting in about three hours. You got the Seahawks traveling to the Cowboys, man. How you feeling about this game? You got the Cowboys winning this joint?
I got them winning big. I really do have them winning big. Undefeated at home. Dak Prescott's look great at home. I don't see the Seahawks keeping it close. The Seahawks just played the Niners last week at home, and that wasn't a close game either. The Seahawks are a very up and down team, but I see them traveling into Dallas this week. I don't see that game going well for them.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm going Cowboys as well. The thing is the Seahawks, they're not Kenneth Walker. I think having him not being healthy, he'll probably won't even play. That is a bad loss for the Seahawks because that kind of takes away from them wanting to be a running game and have their running game started, and that affects Geno. I get it. It was a San Francisco front line. They couldn't stop San Francisco's front four last week. So you got DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons coming this week. That's trouble too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So have fun with that. Next up, Chargers, Patriots. Which way you going on that one, AR?
Oh, man. I mean, I got the Chargers, but if they lose this game and he is not fired, I'm sorry.
I feel you, dog. I feel you.
I'm on that list to petition to get him out of there. But if they lose this week, man, holy, wow. So I got the Chargers winning.
Hey, I'm with you. If you can't beat the 2-9 Patriots, and the Patriots are not the Patriots that we are accustomed to, you have a problem. So yeah, Chargers, you better win this one.
They play two quarterbacks a week.
You right.
And they both throw picks. They both had two turnovers last week.
Yeah, they've both been high on throwing. And they couldn't beat the Giants. The Patriots couldn't beat the Giants. That's how
Giants
bad they are.
Are alive. Giants playoff hopes are alive.
Yeah. Hey, I saw something the other day. The Giants they got the 6th pick in the draft, but they're like a couple of games out of the wild card. I thought that was nuts.
Yeah, because every team that's right ahead of them, the Packers. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the schedule right now, just real quick. I'm not gonna take long because I know we want to get through this real quick. Because it's actually very interesting how they could change their season around if they just play some decent football. They really have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're 4-8, and the Vikings, who are the 7th seed, are 6-6.
Right. So they play the Packers, which are ahead of them. They play the Saints, which are ahead of them, and the Saints have not been playing good football. Of course, they play the Eagles 2 times. So if you want to chalk those off as 2 losses, okay, chalk them off as 2 losses. But you do have to play the Rams as well, and the Rams are right ahead of them as well. So 3 of the teams that are 1 win ahead of them, they all have on the schedule. So if you get 3 wins there, and then by the time the Eagles solidify themselves as, playoff bound, number 1 seed bound, and they might rest their starters, and they could somehow sneak a win, you're looking at 8 wins. You could sneak in.
You never know. Yeah.
If they make it,
crazy as it sounds, they could possibly sneak in.
That would be insane for what they've gone through this year. That is ridiculous.
Hey, the NFL be NFLing, baby. We got the Cardinals, who are 2-10 versus the 7-4 Steelers. I'm pretty sure we can both say that we're going with Steelers on this one.
Yeah,
I don't even think it need to talk much about that. So yeah, Steelers. If you lose to the 2-10 Cardinals, you better figure something out. You better figure out why.
I do have to say, the Cardinals have been playing better football since Murray's been back. A couple close games.
Yeah, a couple close games. I'm still confused on why he's even back. They're not going nowhere, but whatever. Hey, what can you do? 6-5 Colts, 4-7 Titans. Who you rocking with on this one, AR?
I don't know. The Titans and Colts are one of those games where it's like Titans Jaguars, the same kind of thing in that division, where it goes either way. At Tennessee, I might go Tennessee here because I'm not sold on the Colts, even though the Colts have been playing some pretty good football. They've been playing some good football. I'm not completely sold on them yet, but I'm actually gonna go Titans here this week.
Oh, okay. Well, a little bit of upset. It's not a bad move because believe it or not, the Titans are their 4 wins have been home. They can't win on the road. So this game is in Tennessee. And you know, I'm not mad at your take of not being sold on the Colts, but the fact that the Colts know that they're in position for a wild card spot, you can't lay a dud against them. So I think Colts get this game. Here's a good matchup right here. 2 6-5 teams, 6-5 Broncos heading down to 6-5 Texans. Who you got?
Oh man.
I know, a tough matchup.
That's a good matchup, and I like Houston, but I like the Broncos too. That's hard. I'm gonna go Denver. And the reason why I say that on the road, is because hottest team in football right now. They're looking good. You know, even though the wins haven't been pretty, they've been getting the wins. Houston, they lost
5 in a row.
They lost a close game to the Jaguars this week, but had a scare against the Cardinals. And I feel like, with Surtain out there, like it kind of nullifies Dell. I feel like the Broncos are gonna just sneak one out of here. Probably another close game. But I think the Denver Broncos get the win there.
Oh, okay. I kept going back and forth on this one. Right now, I'm going with the Texans, so I'm more liable to probably flip by the time Sunday comes. I'm not even gonna lie, because that's you make up some good points about strategy wise and how this can go. So we'll see what happens. Your game, Saints, Lions. Are you feeling confident to take your Saints against the Lions?
No. No. It's really been hard since Breeze and Peyton left, man. It's just like we're good enough to be a better team. It's just like we just can't get it together. I think the Lions bounce back, having 2 rough games. It's in the Superdome. It's always hard to play the Saints in the Superdome. Do I think they have a chance because of the way the Lions are playing? Yes, but yeah, I got the Lions on that one.
Yeah, I don't like the way Derek Carr has been playing. It's kind of hard for me to go against the Lions in that aspect. Just he's been so Derek Carr is and I've been because my thing is I've been sticking up for Derek Carr. I can no longer do it. Game in, he finds a way to just just look like complete dog dookie. Yeah, I'm gonna go Lions on this one. Falcons, Jets. Which way you going on this one?
I said it earlier. I'm going Jets because their defense. Yeah, I got Jets. I got Jets on that one. I don't have too much to say about that.
Man, it's. I want to pick Falcons, but damn it, you got Desmond Ridder as your quarterback. My goodness. As much faith as I don't have in his Jets offense, I think I have less faith in Desmond Ridder as quarterback for the Falcons. So by that thought process, I hate to say it, man, I might rock with the Jets on this one as well. Even though they have burned me more than once on my pick'em league, so we'll see. Dolphins, Commanders. Do we need to talk about this? Cause it's another below 500 team. Okay, yeah, Dolphins should beat the Commanders. Do we need to talk about this next game? Panthers, Buccaneers. I mean, Panthers are god awful. Okay, yeah. Buccaneers. Hey, for the rest of the season, any team that the Panthers are playing, I'm going with the opposite team. I'm just letting y'all know. You said do what?
There is a scenario where the Panthers host a playoff game as a 4 seed.
Yeah, they have to win out. Man, I don't see that.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
They just them firing the coach was everything I needed to know. Browns 7-4, 5-6. LA Rams. Which way you going on this one, AR?
This one's hard because the Rams have been playing some decent football.
Facts.
But I'm going to take the Browns just because if Myles Garrett's healthy enough to play. Like, they haven't protected Stafford well. Stafford's banged up. And again, they did beat, like, their good win was against the Cardinals last week, so I can't give them that much credit for that. So I'm gonna go Browns because that defense. I mean, again, that defense is very good, and I don't see the Rams being able to handle that front.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but I'm actually going upset. I'm gonna go Rams on this, just because we still have too much question marks with that Browns offense, and I know they avoided the catastrophe injury to Myles Garrett's shoulder, but still, that could probably slow him down. Probably this week. Maybe if this game was next week, I'll probably go Browns because, I just need to see how he plays with that shoulder. And then I can give a more accurate. But this week, but just because he had the scare last week, I'm going to go Rams on this one. Obviously, 49ers and Eagles. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. I'm going to go right now. I'm going to go Eagles because I think they got to, have the benefit of that run game, get it going with DeAndre Swift, get him going, get Jalen Hurts going in the run game. Even if they use A.J. Brown like the 49ers use Debo, do a little jet sweep. I can see that happening just to get that running game going. This is a toss-up. It really is. Because you made some great points earlier when we were talking about it. So I can really see this going either way. But right now, I'm going to rock with the Eagles. What say you on this one, AR?
What'd you say?
Go ahead, make your pick.
Yeah, Niners. I got Niners.
Man, you said that real confident, man.
Listen, I said what I had. I said what I had to say in the last thing, so I'm not gonna ramble on. But yeah, I got the Niners.
Yeah, I got you. Sunday night, my Kansas City Chiefs take on the Packers. Obviously, I'm going Chiefs, but I'm just gonna say this. Look, Chiefs, look at the rest of your schedule. I don't think you have a stiff competition in it. You don't. What I see is a whole bunch of trap games week after week after week after week. Don't play down to your competition. All right? You are the better team. I think anybody with any kind of football sense any type of brains in their head can sit here and say that you are the better team. Handle your business, take care of your business, stop the drop footballs, receivers catch the damn footballs. And hey, I'm not absolving Patrick Mahomes for this. He deserves some blame too. I don't like your turnover rate. You got you're getting a little free on the interceptions. 11 games and you got 9 interceptions. You do the math. So you're almost doing an interception per game. So let's not turn into Santa Claus and start giving away the gifts to the Packers defense. All right. So, you deserve some of this too. So let's kill the turnovers. Let's kill the drop passes. And hey, for the rest of the schedule, you can mosey on into that 1 seed if you play it right. Because you got trap games after trap games. You're going to be the favorite in just about the rest of your games at this remaining schedule that you got. So, yeah. What you think, AR?
Yeah, I got the Chiefs. I just don't want what happened to the Lions to happen to them, where they just made a couple mistakes early and the Packers took the momentum from them. And, unlike the Raiders, we've seen when the Packers got up on a good team, they kept them there. So I don't want the Chiefs to get off to a bad start. I think the Packers, if they could do that and the Chiefs have the Butterfingers again, it makes it an interesting game. But I got the Chiefs. Again, like you said, I'm looking at their schedule right now. The best team on that remaining schedule is the Bills, because obviously the Bengals don't have Burrow no more. So they really should win out and use these games as kind of like tune-up games. Get the receiving core Mahomes on the right track. Get your defense confidence. Because you have some competition with the Bills and the Bengals sprinkled in there. But yeah, like you said, those are all games that they should come out on top with. So don't play with your food. Just win the games, and keep the momentum riding to the playoffs.
Exactly. And then last and certainly not least, Monday night, you got the Bengals going to Jacksonville. If Joe Burrow was playing in this game, I think it's definitely a different outcome. Jaguars sitting at 8-3, and Bengals have no clue what they're looking like on offense without Burrow. So I just don't see them having a shot in this game. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense, surprisingly, they can get after the quarterback with the sacks. And they're actually one of the better defenses at getting turnovers. So you add that to the fact that Jake Browning is still trying to get in rhythm with Jamar Chase. I don't know if T. Higgins is playing and trying to get in rhythm with Tyler Boyd. That presents a little bit of a problem right there too. So to be honest, man, ever since the injury to Joe Burrow, man, I'm pretty much written off the Bengals. So what's your pick in this game?
Yeah, I got the Jaguars. I don't think the Bengals have a chance no more for the playoffs, in my opinion. A lot of that team's problems was kind of covered up by Joe Burrow being Joe Burrow, in my opinion. So yeah, I think without him, that team's just not gonna get back on the right track. So I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking that one.
No doubt. And there you have it, man. Those are our picks for Week 13. We're coming up on a few more hours, and then you'll get the start of Week 13. See the Cowboys and the Seahawks. Man, great show. Man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us, chopping it up with me and AR. And AR, I definitely got to give you a big thanks, man, for joining me today. One more time, man, go ahead and give all your socials out so that people can make sure they can follow you, follow all your content, man.
Yes, sir. So TikTok and YouTube is PR3Z Sports. I'm gonna be finding the day for next week to get back on my podcast and get that show started, because then my school schedule will finally be dying down. So I'll have everything straightened out. And then Instagram's Anthony R3204. So hopefully when I get my YouTube schedule figured out. I'll get back on that. I know Lamar will join me on there sometime, so I'm excited to get that started back up.
Yeah. No doubt, no doubt. Hey, always a pleasure to have AR on the show with us. And y'all know where to find us, man. I.O.W. Sports Network, Facebook, Instagram, and most importantly, right here on the YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification, lets you know when we drop new content. And I.O.W. Sports 1 on the Twitter. You want to chop it up with me personally? You can find me on Twitter, KC Wildcardmar, or Facebook and Instagram at Wildcardmar, man. Again, I thank you, AR, for joining me. Hey, everybody, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy all the dope sports we got going on. It's going to be a great college football championship weekend starting tomorrow on Friday, going into Saturday. Hey, some important football going down. Can't forget week 13. And don't forget, man, there's NBA playing. There's some NBA basketball going on, some college basketball, men and women. Angel Reese might return tonight. She's been cleared to return tonight. So we'll see what happens with her. Hey, go enjoy the rest of y'all sports weekend. On behalf of the fellas of I.O.W. Sports, my man AR, I'm the Wild Card Mar. We up out of here. Have a happy and safe weekend. We'll see y'all Monday. Peace.